Hello everybody, my name is Troublmaker and I'm back with some Wargame AirLand Battle. This of course is not from a tournament, and that's kind of weird considering that all we've been doing for a while is tournament play. No, this is a friendly match between PLF plus Buck Turgidson, who is the guy who creates the Wargame AirLand Battle replay site and does a lot of work in the community. And the other side is a superstar team, of course, of Tigga, Gronuok, Firestarter, and No Unit. I should also worth mentioning that Hyo, Jareth, and the Monkey King are also not any kind of short stacked players. They're all very, very good. And I only mentioned Tigga, Firestarter, and No Unit, Binks, because those three were three of the top players for the majority of Wargame European Escalation. Have not fared as well in this game as they did in the previous game, but all the same. This, of course, is 3 Mile Island. This is a classic European escalation map that has been ported through DLC, through the Magna Carta DLC, into Wargame AirLand Battle, and there have been some changes made. Now, when this map first released, there were some problem with these little bridges here. Apparently some bridges were aesthetic and others were not, and it really screwed up the map initially, but that's all been fixed. Very, very fast fix from Eugen Systems, who have been very good about providing community support for the games. And they also had the massive balance patch, which has had huge implications on play. Artillery is mostly dead. Mortars are still very potent. There's a select number of minor nation artillery units that are very acceptable, but for the most part, artillery is dead. The MLRS multi-rocket launcher is pretty dead sauce, as is the Buratino, which of course is a napalm artillery unit. And yeah, not much to say about this so far, other than the fact that we have a little bit of an air rush here. This looks like to be grabbing a position from Buck Turgidson. I have this upside down, don't I? I totally do. There we go. There we go. Now it's the exact place I want it to be, because I was calling this Tigga. No, this is PLF right here. This over here, this evil side, of course, is Tigga, Firestarter, Binks, and Tigga. He was one of the better PACT players, as was Firestarter. I think Binks kind of goes back and forth between the two, and honestly, I haven't seen enough of Gronuok. He has been a part of this community for quite a while as well, but I haven't seen enough of his games to be able to tell. Now, a new part of the meta is back to an air rush, and the more of these you can get, the better. Certain units do really, really well. Like these Delphins are, I think, 30 points. Yeah, 30, 35 points. Very cheap bombers. You can rally out a lot of them. Getting good surface area on these MiGs is very important. The PACT are using these MiG-23s and these MiG-31s, both very good. And the Allies, of course, have their firefighters and their Mirages, which are all great, very cheap options for opening. And it looks like Air Battle is favoring PACT so far, who have not deployed a lot of ground forces, and jeez, this is just really going poorly. Like, the control here from Tigga in the air is just so good, sniping off these Mirages left and right. And firefighters are also going down, able to drop a few bombs on the ground force, but not enough. These MiGs just super, super strong. And here comes these Delphins. This is what they're for. They need to spot where these land forces are, and here they go. They're going to drop these massive 500-kilogram bombs. Oh my god, the devastation! Gets a good stun here, gets 4 of them in the fire, but effectively blocks the road and creates this nice divide so that his forces can get into position. Now, of course, this is a conquest map. This is an 800 point game that we're looking at here. And, of course, in 4v4 matchups, these points do seem to go pretty crazy, as you don't just have people fighting over 1 point like in 2v2 or 1.5 points like in 3v3. You have people fighting over 4 points. And the ground advantage has definitely gone to PLF, featuring Buck Turgidson. The air advantage, though, is so supreme in this right now. So for those who are not aware, they have severely change supply trucks. Massively change supply trucks so that supply trucks no longer come in high supply. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? They no longer come in the insanely high numbers that they used to. That means that these tracked rapiers, which have been very effective knocking down 2 vehicles, will eventually run out of supply, and they won't be able to get as many supplies forward as before. Now, there have been some people playing around with it, adding a lot more supply trucks to your cards, getting less cheap ones like 40-point colos carry a lot more supplies and come in high numbers. And oh my god, here comes a mini little all-in here from Firestarter. Doesn't seem to be firing at all though. Might be just trying to use these as a spotter, potentially. Try and spot. And these bicep carries are all getting picked off very cost effectively, very easily with these anti-infantry vehicles. But these helicopters have no one stopping them. They're continuing moving on, and Firestarter might be able to come in here for a good pickoff. This vehicle apparently can shoot the air though, and that was mostly unexpected. A Strip BV 3021. Never even heard of you, ever. And he's got to get this. He knows where it is now, so he can bomb it, obviously. And there's a little bit of micro required. You have to get a helicopter overhead so I can see, and then the rest fire while this one spots. And that doesn't look like it's happening. Oh, here comes the SC-25. That's the big kill. He got the spot in. He got the position taken out. And now Bravo is completely empty. They have no reinforcement point. And unfortunately, this massive ball of forces is caught here. They have no way to retreat just yet because of this napalm in the back here. And they're forced to push forward. And they will do so. There are some positions here in the woods they can take. Another popular choice for PACT is this T-72 MNCZ. These T-72 variants very popular all of a sudden. Actually, they were kind of popular before the PACT, but even now they're even more popular. And just using these MiGs, they have those radar-guided rockets. They're going to try and pick off any of these units with radar. Getting some pretty good shots off all around, just kind of spinning them in circles, waiting until he gets a target and hitting. And here comes another Delta in. Once again, these really cheap, effective bombers getting their shots in and will, in fact, boom, get the shot off. And looks like we have a pretty effective rush here, actually able to get out the command here. So it's about even right now with both teams having actually taken out the other's reinforcement point. The difference, however, is that blue has this massive tank force here ready to push in and grab this position. This could go very poorly for Team Tigga. That's his name. And 2 flanks here are the tanks coming in. So this is absolutely devastating. There is a nice amount of tanks here. T-55As, also a very popular variant these days, coming in. But the air superiority is just going to come back in a haunt. Absolutely come back in a haunt. If they cannot get some units in air, and one being deployed, not just in time though. And this is very much an air game right now. Who can hit what, where, when, how? That's the important questions. And just so many packed vehicles. This has been marked as one of the major imbalances for the game. Just how many aircraft the pack can get out cost effectively. Now here comes some Tigga MiGs. And will they pick off one of these freedom fighters? That would be huge. But no, it looks like they'll both get away. And the MiGs are recalibrating up. Now there is something to be said about these radar-guided missiles. They do, in fact, do pretty well against most of these units. And the battle for the top here is coming to an interesting change as a command is going to get snuck in here. You might try and creep it right here on this line just so you can kind of get in the zone, grab this location, and actually cut off these reinforcements here. It'll also allow them to get some infantry out to grab this position up on this mountain, sneak on through here and grab it, and oh, firefighters getting some more pot shots off. Here comes an SC-25. We'll get a counter shot off the firefighter. Oh my god, Mirage coming in for the sweep, misses. And where's this SC-25 going? It's got to get out of there. Firestarter, call the evac. No, it goes down. Tracked Rapier, so damn good. And Przik Igla just not covering the bases needs to. But the MiG, oh my god, that MiG was so clutch, Firestarter. And there's actually a Cobra coming in here to provide a little bit of air support, a little bit of air cavalry. And there's no anti-air in sight other than this single group of Przik Iglas. This point has been captured, dominated by our blue team, which is, of course, PLF, featuring Buck Turgerson. And at the bottom, still no points claimed here. There has been a pretty good push up here from blue, actually able to grab some ground, but with this T-72 sitting here, it's been very hard for them to grab this position back, just because it provides such superior vision. We have a few anti-infantry vehicles with some Milan rockets coming in to try and take out this one helicopter. The T-72 is going to try and close ground. It's only got 1 hit point, so this is actually very, very dangerous. Will he lose the T-72, or will he kill this insanely fast? 1 down. That was pretty sickly. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're not cheap at all. They're like 30-point vehicles. These are not cost-effective by any means. And it looks like Tigga will, in fact, grab both of them pretty easily, pretty cost-effectively. And now there's just a big, big tank push-up coming here from Firestarter and Tigga. These guys seem to be everywhere. Do they have teammates? Like, looks like the middle actually being held by Gronuok, who's using some sort of pre-1970s deck with his T-34-85M, which is just... I think if you kill it, if the enemy kills it, you get points. That's how cheap they are. They're very, very cheap units. And, oh, I see. There's no one in this 2-point base. That is a big deal. Absolutely a big deal. Tigga probably sniped that thing pretty effectively. All you need is vision. And once you have this air war, you get the vision, and you go ahead and do that good old-fashioned command stomp. Pretty maximum lineup here of anti-tank vehicles. I'm not entirely sure what to do with them. They're kind of just out in the open. Very, very vulnerable to artillery. In one of the very few uses where artillery is insanely good. And this Grenzer here, of course, going to plot along the line here. Now, there is a ridge here that blocks vision. So he can sneak around the back with this Grenzer, assuming he doesn't get caught. Which looks like he might. Come up the back here and kill his command. Or alternatively, he could, come along here, do this. And he's also providing vision, which of course is very, very key. Those Grenzer attacks are pretty brutal, pretty hard to deal with, especially on this game mode. We're now looking at finally a +1 for PLF. They've been bleeding out for quite a while now. The loss of this 2-point base was absolutely brutal, but looks like they seem to have knocked out this 2-point base by putting their command in it. So they've gained a slight advantage, which might last the entire game or might die out quickly. It's hard to say. There's actually not too much in the middle here to actually defend it. And in fact, PLF is in a good position to actually move in and take this position completely, grabbing a pretty significant lead. Looks like a Cobra all-in has in fact hit, and dear God, it actually knocked out a 2-point base, which means that Team Tigga will in fact bleed out just a little bit more. Now this push-up is continuing on, and there's actually no anti-air being rallied out just yet. Actually being forced to move the command because he can't actually defend this. And MiGs are coming in. That's good. That's good answers. MiG-23s and MiG-31s, and all Cobras will go down just as he was about to begin firing on this. But here comes some firefighters. Will they do this? Oh my God! They actually just hit a random location and ran. Is that where it's really come to? And this is the kind of stuff they need to do. The immediate rally of more anti-air. Because clearly they don't have enough if a small group of helicopters were able to come in here, axe a base, a 2-point base, and then go straight for the main. And these Centurions are actually just going to keep pushing up. There's nothing really to stop them. And here's another popular post-patch unit. The Shma, which has a picture of a black man, and there's no black man in the unit. Yeah, I know. Racism, right? French people. God. So a little bit of a mixture here. He's got some empty Jupiters that are empty. Kind of hoping that his opponent hits those. They can be used to sack. And he's coming out with a little bit of Milan rush coming along all sides. And these things are, they're sack lows, so they'll pretty much hit 100% targets as long as they can see them. And got some pretty good shots off there. And throwing away the Jupiters. This will waste ammunition, which is pretty key at this point because this guy only has like 7 bullets left. And able to get off a couple of vehicle kills. Now this is not, of course, the most insanely effective use of this unit. In fact, here comes a Yak. Just kind of show how stupid of an idea this just might be. And here we go. The napalm is off, and will it hit? It hits 2 units. This guy just barely outside of it. And they should rot away pretty easily. A T-64 with just their tank destroyer prototype weapon on top. Nothing else, just pretty well empty on ammunition. Desperately needed supplies. Of course, this is a pretty supply weak meta that we're in right now. And PLF just continuing to bleed out their opponents. But here comes a Panzergrenadier from behind this T-72. Might be able to get an easy kill. It does, in fact, get that. And moving into a good position to tackle from the reinforcement line. He is. That also gave a signal, however, for looks like Firestarter to actually get some infantry in this woods. And it looks like it's going to be some napalm infantry. Most of those Amex Milans are actually cleaned up. There's a few surviving over here, but not too many. And this is the big push-up that everyone's kind of worried about. There's lots of infantry here. There's basically nothing here. This command could easily die, and these air battles have been absolutely brutal. It's very, very hard for the PACT to win air battles right now without anti-air support. And for this to come from PACT to try and tango with these air superiority fighters is absolutely amazing. Now, of course, things are not going well for the PACT, all things assumed good. A 1-point base has been captured by PLF, and they also have this 2-point base here, which means that they're +2. If they can break in here, which of course is not hard, there's only one team of conquerors here. Everything else is just out of gas. If they can do that, they're set. And this is actually going to be the last rocket from Binks here. They'll absolutely be able to grab this point with relative ease. That was weird, because the way I was looking at it, for some reason I thought this URL was firing on Chinook. It looked weird, but it's actually the Chinook firing on the URL. Try and get a few shots off, and he's going to stage some forward Mountaineers, another super popular unit all of a sudden. And they will in fact be able to put a command here, which will be absolutely, breathtakingly, massively huge for them. That'll give them a +4. And it'll actually put them more than back in the game. It'll actually put them in a position to completely win. As well, if they can re-grab this Charlie base, that would be mega, mega, mega. And actually, what the hell just happened? A T-55 KI put in place. This, of course, is one of my personal favorite command tanks. It is, of course, Polish? No, let's check. It's a Czech deck. I knew that. And yes, but that basically balances it out for now. But once Blue is able to grab this 2-point base, that's it. And they could also cancel out this Charlie base. There's not too much here to stop them. There is a nice amount of AT on the ground, however, to knock out any reinforcements coming in that way. It looks like we're going to see Panzergrenadier versus T-72 in close range. Not always going to be the best. And Intruder actually able to get his payload off. Did it hit? Doesn't look like it did. Yeah, this is usually not going to be one of the better battles you'll see. But it looks like he's forced the Panzergrenadier to run away, and here comes a Yak looking to try and clear the front, which of course is loaded full of Panzergrenadiers, and a Delphin as well. Both very cheap bombers. Going to use in tandem to try and knock these guys out. One can stun, one can burn, and once the units are stunned, they just burn so much faster, so much faster. And here comes that extra command here, as was expected. They're going to try and grab this Mike base and start bleeding out Team Tigga again. And apologies to Team Tigga. If your name is not, in fact, Team Tigga, and you like to officially declare a team name, as in you guys are going to start a new clan, go ahead and do so. I would be very happy to be corrected on that. But so far, it's Team Tigga. And just these ridiculous numbers of freedom fighters. They're all, of course, very cheap fighters. You know, that's why the Canadian government uses them. And dashing off against these really expensive MiGs, which have basically not died this entire game, have been super cost effective, super killing everything in their path, and not much from allies has actually been able to stop them. So potentially that's a unit they might be adding to my deck. A little bit of side shots here from Firestarter. Going to try and pick up a few units here. The command, of course, is the big target. He's going to relocate to a more northern location and once again cancel out this point, and creating that +2 benefit once again. So yeah, the bleeding is already begun. This location here shouldn't stand, but it does. I mean, they know it's here. They could bomb that. They know it's here. There's no AA in the area. There's no AA network. These guys are relying entirely on their air fighters. And here comes a freedom fighter to try and go in for a hit. Now, with these tanks showing up, this complicates matters just a little bit. Actually, no, the Freedom Fighters are going for this side flank here, where there actually is a Bookme, which has got the stun and 1 hit point left. Will the Freedom Fighter get away? It looks like it didn't. MiG-31 coming to make sure that thing was dead and getting some free pot shots off on some radar-guided weaponry. Oh my god, look at the range on this thing. You see that? It was just halfway across the map and he hit it. That must anger PLF so much. I know that would anger me to all hell. And command is once again being relocated just slightly. Doesn't want to lose that. And this forward push is basically stalled out here. By the by, he's decided he's going to secure this location. A few helicopters, some pretty pricey ones at that, coming in to do a little bit of damage. And there is a group of a lot of Stingers here, but there's really not much of an AA network supporting this, and actually might be able to grab this command pretty easy. Stingers have 4 more rockets, and they all got a hit. And actually, these Chinooks are providing some pretty adequate anti-air, all things covered. And the Mountaineers actually overhead going to hit, and all 4 those go down. Pretty brutal. The Jaguars and the F4F, seriously, guys, F4F. What is this, like a pre World War II Nazi plane? Jesus. Anyway, we're looking at a Cold War, so I guess some Nazi tech has to be involved. Yeah, they've been able to fight off a lot of this advance pretty effectively. The middle has been the big decider so far, with PLF having successfully grabbed that. And we're looking at a really bad position right now for the PACT. They kind of need to grab back this Mike base, and they need to do it very soon. It's kind of like that old, chanting. What do we want? 2-point Mike base. When do we need it? Sometime in the future. At affordable means. So that's got to happen, and it will be pretty brutal if they don't. They do have an extra command here set up waiting to kind of take this base back, and it's just basically just happened. Boom! PLF is now officially in the lead by a smoking 2 to 4 points, depending on when I finish this sentence. And now the HONUS, that is the right to act, is now on Team Tigga. Team Tigga have to move. They're moving up T-72KI. I'm not entirely sure for what just yet. There looks like there is some sort of future plan for this, however, and I don't know what it's for yet. Usually when you buy an extra command, it's like, I have this extra command here, and I plan to use it here, or somewhere. And just as PLF gets the lead, a massive bomb hit actually wipes out that command. So they're back to being in a stalemate type position. They gotta get another command out, but of course commands are quite expensive, and they can't just throw them away. So they're gonna have to try and gain some ground first, get this forward position potentially first, and then try to put that command back in. All the while, just really low amounts of anti-air in this new metagame. And Mirage is trying to pick off some units. MiG has joined the fray. There's a single Bookme actually getting filled up with supplies that's firing them off as they use them. This is kind of a part of the new metagame. The reason why air is so powerful is because these anti-air units just can't get filled up with supplies in a very effective manner. And he's actually drained out almost 2 full trucks in no time. Note there is 1 FOB here, and there is 2 here. Mostly on tap, though. This one's been getting used by artillery units. And, of course, this change was designed entirely to make you use more FOBs, and it worked, right? It's just not something people are particularly happy about. Speaking of happiness is a MiG-31 right now, because these guys are absolute crazy snipers hitting these massive, almost the entire distance of the map shots. And I think this map is kind of proving to be relatively balanced, and we'll probably see it in tournaments just because of how good it is. in terms of balance, in terms of goals, in terms of strategies, and this ridiculous numbers of these air units just don't stop. By this point in a standard game with 2 bad teams, that is your standard pub team with me on it, by this point all people have lost almost all their aircraft, and this is just sensational. Just been getting ridiculous numbers of kills here. I would be absolutely shocked if not by the end of this that each of those MiGs has a massive laundry list of kills. And oh my god, what's going on here? Is this a caught light infantry? And he kind of gave himself away too. Unfortunately, this U-roll was completely empty. It provides 0 vision, absolutely none. He could have just walked in here and grabbed this command. I'm actually going to move this command around because he has 3 commands here, of course. So, yeah, for a little bit there was a command here, and back again there is. So it looks like Tigga will start bleeding out PLF again. Team Tigga back in the lead by 8, depending on when I finish this sentence. And you can tell they're getting near to the end of their decks because here we are with a bunch of TO-55s coming out. And, you know, when you see one TO-55, you're like, oh yeah, he wants to get rid of infantry. I get that. When you see a guy rallying out a conga line of TO-55s, though, you have to think his deck is getting pretty bleak. Yes, and that's definitely something that is happening in this. People are getting less expensive units and more cheaper units. And because of that, it's causing this kind of problem where people are running out of units very, very quickly. Now, speaking of all-ins being crazy, a massive lineup of light riflemen happens spread out very effectively. As the Cobras are coming in, joining the fray, MiGs, however, intercepting, and they can get a lot of shots off. Here comes a little bit of a barrage on an anti-air unit, and actually gets one of the commands. If he gets the other command here, this is huge because there's no reinforcement point. That is huge. This UAZ has to die. Can he do it? That will make it absolutely worthwhile. Getting some shots off. Oh my god, the command is moving. He has no more reinforcement right now until he can get that back in position. He does get rid of all the air fighters. Here comes a freedom fighter going to try and bomb the location. Will he get the shots at the right places? Doesn't look like it. Freedom fighters will escape. Another UAZ getting rallied in here, realizing that this is going to be mostly all in from PLF. They're in a bad state right now. They need to get this base, the Movember state, the state of my brotherly mustache love from last month coming in, and he's rallying out lots of T-72s, lots of anti-infantry vehicles, and lots of anti-air, wanting to do absolutely everything to take care of this, to deal with this, and to destroy this at its case. Jareth with an insanely potent all-in using light riflemen and helicopters. Holy crap, I can't believe that light riflemen helicopter cheese is back in play, have been able to hold themselves together. So huge, massive victory here from Team Tigga. And now it'll come back down to this Mike base, which is getting all in again. 4 Leopard 2A4s. Just as I was saying that people don't use these units, here they come. M1 Abrams coming from the northern flank as well. And this is a surround and capture. They have to smash and grab these commands very quickly. Flamethrower TO-55 are going to throw a little bit of napalm patch here. Doesn't actually block vision, but trying to limit the amount of pathing that these Leopard 2A4s can use. Trying to force them into the belly of the beast, which is completely controlled with infantry, which have those RPGs, those heat rockets. Here comes another napalm unit. Will they get the fire on the tanks? Try and block some more pathing? No, they'll be continuing forward with a Chinook to come and help take them out. Leopard 2A4s still not getting great visibility, and here we go. Fire from these Cobras, getting it job done, and will continue moving up, and actually gets the command here, so actually able to completely stop the bleeding. This push might be the one that wins them the game. They have to follow this up with a command, of course, to absolutely get this win. Alternatively, they could take it as 1-point base. And here comes a MiG-295 trying to get in some nice little shots here to stop this advance. Actually hitting a forward location and gets a hit. Able to knock off 4 whole hit points off these Leopard 2A4s. But it looks like nothing can stop this retarded Allied. I mean NATO. I'm playing too much Red Alert. NATO Leopard 2A4 ball. There's actually some AA here, hasn't been seen for most of the game, and actually loses one of them. He has one tracked rapier left, which has been pretty cost effective, has those radar rockets, and oh my god, these look at these anti-radar units sniping them off like mad people. And here comes an Air Force and actually wiping out a retarded amount of the Leopards here. Now, he's actually been using these air units all very well the entire game, but now we're seeing just how it's all coming together. He used those air units to pick off the radar-guided, systemed anti-air units using anti-radar weaponry, and now he's coming in with ridiculous amounts of air weapons to try and pick this off. Now, they do have the commanding here. This is part of the plan. Unfortunately, the plan itself is not going too well right now. They need to push forward with these Leopard 2A4s. This is the final part of their mini all-in. Grabbing this base will be key. Gotta stop this command, though, and take the base. Wiped off all oppositions. The command is still moving forward, though, for some reason. Looks like this is a little bit of mixed click here from Monkey King. And he's going to try and grab a forward location, which is very weird. An unusual location. Probably trying to bomber-proof it, because if he puts it here, obviously it's just going to get bombed. And here comes in a lot of vehicles, joined in with some big, big tanks. This is the game-ending push here. 11 minutes left in the game. They can accumulate with a 2-point lead 40 points a minute. So if they can hold this long enough, they can win. Now, the command has been already spotted. That's pretty brutal. Artillery's going to try and shell it out. And once the aircraft spin back up, and here they are, boom, 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 500-kilogram bomb coming straight for this command. Will it survive? Will they pull it back? Those are the important questions right now. And here comes the answer. It comes in the form of 500 kilograms of death and destruction, and actually able to just pull it back just in time, completely dodging that massive bomb. Leopard 2A4 is leading the charge here with some anti-air helicopters supporting, pulling back to the anti-air damage, and able to completely secure this location. This has been a pretty intense coup, an air coup, as he's been using these anti-air and air fighters to also try and deal a little bit of damage to these ground forces. Peek and snipe them off wherever they can, using them insanely cost effectively. Middle map still locked out. There's a large group of air infantry here for a little bit of last minute all in, and oh, there's the 2+ again, trying to move his command around to try and dodge these ridiculous amounts of air units. And did we just see a massive rocket-based artillery actually kill the command here? It did. It did. And now another command has been rallied in from Buck Turgeston, creator of the Wargame AirLand Battle replay website, of course. And more AT being brought in here in the form of the good old-fashioned Lob 25. Will be the Mountain Men, the Mountaineers. We'll see as soon as he deploys them. And it's the SMAs. And my keyboard's not working. Nope, it's working. Never mind. Yes, it'll be the SMAs. Of course, insanely popular unit. Very, very good at picking off a lot of stuff. And this air battle continues right on. MiG-31's gone too far. And finally, the MiG-31 will go down. Tigga's invincible army of air units has that gone down just because of the ridiculous amount of AA finally being deployed. Track Rapier, 3 anti-air helicopters, and a Track Rapier, all in good position to deal with that. And, yeah, it's starting to look like PLF might be able to pull this off, might be able to do the impossible. Get what I would call a pretty major upset on Team Tigga, which I would say is very much stacked with some of the most talented people in our community in 1v1, of course. And where is the flare? Calling for an attack, Gronuok? Gronuok? You want to attack this location to finish this area off? This is the most fortified part of the map, fortified entirely by the Monkey King. Why would you attack here? It looks like there actually is forces staged to attack. There's lots of T-55s, lots of T-72s, lots of T-64s, lots of types all around to try and push forward and wipe this stuff out. Now at this point in the game, cost effectiveness doesn't matter the bee's knees. It's all about who has more forces on the map, who has the map control, who has the map locations, and we're about to tick over. We're about to have the point where the bleeding will absolutely take absolutely detrimental power. And one more point, come on, rolled over. officially in the lead again is the PLF, the Penguin Liberation Front, I'm sure is their official name. Mirage taking off one of the tanks and might get a second one. Yes, it does, and does pretty considerable damage to last T-64. It has to continue pushing, though. It doesn't have a choice. They have to make this move in. Now, there is a Milan here hitting some sniping shots on the bridge, as well as some vehicles, and this is a kind of a danger zone. What a danger zone. These T-72s will not be able to cross this bridge. Will get picked off by vehicles and by AT very much. These Mirages, of course, providing a little bit of cover here, and all of the tanks are dead. Here comes an air all-in here from Firestarter. Wants to desperately get rid of this command vehicle, which is being repositioned as we speak. The goal here is to get your units over top, get them to view where the command is, and then send in your bombers. Looks like he's going to land a few of these, try and wipe out some of these ground locations. And they're actually loaded full of Vide Sikaris. Very, very good choice. This is your classic shock trooper coming in. And there's just so much bloody stuff here. This is going to be a bad all-in play all around, but they're really low on options. And it looks like most of it has been shot down. They should be able to replant that command relatively soon. Actually playing very, very cautiously. It has been the Monkey King. Been moving that around very effectively. And Mig, what's he hitting here? Aha, he was hitting the old location of the command. And for some reason, a hit point lost there. Oh my god. Does he know the new location? He does. Oh my god. 3 hit points gone. 3 left. And looks like all-round successful defense is happening here. This could be a pretty massive upset here from PLF. Now, of course, this isn't a tournament game. If it was a tournament game, it would have probably been a lot crazier. This is a friendly game between two groups of friends in the community. This is absolutely for funsies. They're all trying out new decks, new units, new strategies, new tactics, playing around with their sides of choice. And all around amazing game. And here comes another little late game tank rush here. Doesn't look like it's too big though. Not big enough to take out these T2A4s, these leopards. And these T-72s are getting wiped out as they move across the map, and actually getting hit on some pretty bad flanks here. There's probably just too much stuff here from the PLF at this point. Actually able to push out with their vehicles and take a lot of pot shots at a lot of vehicles. And these are the kind of tank wars that we all wanted to see. In the nice little zoomed in mode, the explosions are pretty retarded, and looks like this guy was actually pointed to the sky for some reason. Anyway, I am officially declaring this match over. I cannot possibly foresee in any potential radical, rational future any possibility of coming back here. They're going to have some pretty crazy bombs. Actually, not even bombing the right location. That's how bad off they are right now. They're about 50 points behind, so all they need to do is grab another base, and they'll be fine. Looks like they grabbed this middle base here. That's kind of crazy. Is there an extra command? There is an extra command. They can move it there and finish off this game a little bit faster. Like I said, they only need like a minute, Tigga and his team. But it looks like we're going to have a surrender from Tigga, and the entire team substantially is defeated. So, yeah, that was a pretty exceptional match that we watched just there. And it featured some of the best players in the game. Of course, the kills advantage has gone to PLF, obviously. They did very, very well. Monkey King, insanely cost effective. Very, very cautious player. And Buck Turgeston is not just a guy who programs our replay website. Quite the insane killer. On this side, the only person to actually be in the positive, it was Tigga. Possibly because of his MiG-31 play. That MiG-31 play was absolutely exceptional. Someday I might do a video on just how those radar guided rockets really work and how they don't work. But for now, my name is Troublmaker, and I will see you. I guess my next video will be after the holidays. So thank you guys for watching.